all of you. Esteemed and honorable eminent speakers, guests, and honorable head Aquaculture Division Faculty of Fisheries, I welcome all of you and all the participants to the second day of MSME-sponsored training entitled Scientific Management in Rainbow Trout Culture for Entrepreneurship and Employment Generation. Allow me first of all to give the brief introduction of Dr. Shameela ma'am, the former director of Fisheries Department of Goa. She completed her BFSc in 1992, which is the date I was born. Okay, and she did her MFSc in 1994 with a specialization in fish production and management from College of Fisheries, Mangalore, Karnataka. She did work on defatted soya as an alternative protein source to fish meal in shrimp feeds. She was awarded with gold medal for BFSc in University of Agriculture, Karnataka. She did her PhD from National Institute of Oceanography. She extensively worked on fisheries of Goa and its management, and she did international training on intensive aquaculture, food safety and environment from Mansoor in Israel 2006. She is nominated and worked as fisheries ecosystem expert in Mahadai Tribunal on behalf of the state of Goa. She is a member of various government bodies and committees. She started her career with Nagarjuna Aqua Export Private Limited, Nellore, Andhra Pradesh, and was the in charge of monodon hatchery, algae production and diseases. She joined government of Goa as the superintendent of fisheries 1998 and rose through ranks and was headed the department as director of fisheries since 2013 to May 2023. Additionally, she served as a member, secretary, Goa State Pollution Control Board since 2018 and continuing as MS. She has introduced various schemes in fisheries sector of Goa as mobile fish vans, open sea cage culture, reservoir cage setup, a 24/7 state-art control room, and a live vessel tracking. Started Aquaculture Goa Mega Festival, Fish Festival, which is a platform for cultural knowledge and technology sharing. It has become a brand now and have must annual events in Goa. Presently, she is working towards waste mitigation, waste management, and cleaner water and air quality in Goa state. That was the brief introduction about the ma'am. We are very thankful to you, ma'am, to have you here as a eminent speaker. And ma'am will be delivering a lecture. So I'll just brief about that lecture. Okay, ma'am, you can continue with your lecture.
Good morning to all of you. At first, I must thank the faculty of Fisheries SKUAST for having invited me here today. So thank you very much. And I have been to Kashmir many times. Last year I was here. I came to your institute. I just wanted to see how is the College of Fisheries set up in Kashmir. So we were here and I was very happy to see that you all have all the divisions of the fisheries college, what is required, and it is one of the best institutes in India now. And I feel very happy when I see that many of your students are placed in different fields, especially even abroad. And I think there is a Kashmir group, so I have an interaction with, and I track of what is happening with the And also another thing is that Kashmir is now gaining so much of importance in trout farming. I think it is becoming number one in trout farming, and also I have been coming to Kashmir for quite some time now, many years. And every time we come to Kashmir, we go to the Department of Fisheries. And it's so amazing to see, it's just an introduction I'm just giving you. It's really amazing to see the hatchery of trout and how the workers there, they actually, take out the eggs, because I think all of you are aware of how difficult it is for trout breeding. And it is so elaborate. In fact, I worked in a shrimp hatchery wherein we were, artificially breeding the shrimp. here also you artificially the trout, but there it is, although it is also difficult because you have to do ablation of the eyes, of the eye, one of the eyes of the monodon or the shrimp, and then only it matures. But here you all are working in a harsher environment. So breeding of the trout and looking at the eye over and separating the dead one from the live is really very difficult. So first I must congratulate all of you in Kashmir who do such a good job. So as I was introduced, I was the director of fisheries. I still am the director of fisheries in paper because I'm just on deputation to the Pollution Control Board. But for the last 10 years, I've been as the director of fisheries, and we have worked a lot towards the improvement of that. I think some of you are farmers and some of you are students. So the farmers have a very, very bright future, especially after the announcement of the group resolution, wherein the Prime Minister has given so many schemes under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So we have got various schemes, and there are schemes for even the cold water. Cold water fisheries has got its own schemes, and especially in the hill areas and all, you get a financial support which is much higher than the rest of the country. So I'm sure you graduates also will have a lot of scope, especially to be an entrepreneur. Okay, so you can have a lot of startups, and for the farmers, you will have a lot of opportunity because sky is the limit actually. So besides farming, you can also go for marketing. Okay, I think yesterday you all had a lot of interactions with people who are from the field, who are entrepreneurs and who have grown up to be so big in the industry. So in that ways, you do have a lot of scope. You do start with farming. Once you have a lot of farms, then you can move on to being entrepreneurs in marketing your fish. So you have markets, and then it just spreads. Like there is a story of Andhra Pradesh. I think all of you are aware that Andhra is #1 in fisheries. It also started in aquaculture when we were studying. In fact, we had gone to this place called Elleru Lake area, wherein you have people from diverse professions like medical engineers who gave up their professions to be fish farmers. Okay. And from that, they have grown so big that even they have, earlier they didn't even have maybe a car, but now they have the best of the cars, even a helipad for their own helicopter to come there. So it has grown to such an extent. So the same thing can happen in Kashmir as well. All you require is the will and the willingness to work. Of course it is difficult, maybe in winter it becomes a little cold, but with a lot of dedication and hard work, you get success. Okay. So now moving on to my topic for today, being in the Pollution Control Board, I will be talking about bioremediation of wastewater in aquaculture. So generally when we say, you can go to the next slide. Generally when we say what is aquaculture is now, all is gaining very high importance. It creates a lot of job opportunities, it gives you a lot of protein rich, nutritious food on the table. But at the same time, what happens is that now there are different ways of capturing fish. The traditional, you have the intensive, semi-intensive. Now people are going for RAS system. Okay, and people are also going in for race-based, especially in trout. I hope you are comfortable with English, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay, because I will have to. Otherwise, maybe I will have to speak in broken Hindi. Okay. So anyway, we have been observing that when the farming comes from extensive to semi-intensive and intensive farming, what happens generally is that since we are stocking so much of fish, we have to put so much of feed for that. Okay? So naturally the water quality also is a concern, because when it is extensive, there is no problem of water management per se, because you're not really putting in a lot of fish, and also you're not feeding it. Okay, so even if you feed, it will be just once in a while. Okay, so when you're going for semi-intensive, your stocking density increases. So when you increase your stocking density, you have more feed requirement, and intensive becomes more. Okay, and now when we even talk about RAS system, RAS, I hope all of you all know it, is recirculatory aquaculture system, wherein the same water is recirculated back into the system. So when you are recirculating back the water, because there you are talking about a small confined area, your stocking density is very, very high, because you have to get profit. Okay, from the small area you have to take out more so that you get more profit. So what happens here is that your water quality has to be very, very, very good. Okay, so you need to then have a lot of filtration system, wherein you are removing all your waste in the water, because it will be highly rich with nutrient load. You have your excreta also, so that is one thing. And even in your raceways also your stocking density is high, and they depend on a lot of feed. Okay? So even if it is a running water, there will be excreta, so your water which is going down, okay, will be rich in nutrient, as well as it will be rich in your COD, BOD will be higher. So you need to reduce this level. So generally what happens is that farmers, or anyone for that matter who is really doing farming, is not really concerned about what is happening behind. Okay, we are only concerned about the fish. So we want to increase production. But when we want to increase production, we are not really concerned much about what is happening behind. So here now we are talking about what will happen behind. Okay, why that is important? That is important, why I'll tell you, is that if we are at this level itself, we don't take care of our what is happening with the water which is wasted, then we will end up into further problems. Because now, if you are a single unit, or maybe 2 units, you don't have to be so concerned about your water for a farmer per se. But if you have in that same area many farms together, then it is a matter of concern. Why? Because you will be releasing your water downstream. Downstream you have someone else who is another farmer. So he will be taking your water. So your pollutants are going to him. Okay? So that is why you need to take care, because otherwise your farm will get disease. And once you have a disease in the locality, then you get disease everywhere. Okay? So you must be very, very careful about your waste water. And therefore when you design a farm, at the beginning itself, you need to have this design and things in place. So we move on to the next. So this is the environmental impact and water quality, how there is a degradation. So that the random discharge of aquaculture wastewater, the use of medicines, because sometimes if the fish is sick, we tend to put medicines, like we will put antibiotics. Okay, so there will be indiscriminate use of medicines in the system. So you also have sometimes aquatic animals which, you know, if you are culturing something which is not native to your place, it could escape to your nature. Then you also have serious influence, and this has a serious influence on your environment. Especially you will have algal blooms, eutrophication of the water takes place. The next slide. So what we talk about is generally, because most of the it is mostly the organic waste. We are talking about reducing organic waste, the BOD, COD. So what we are talking is, the best method is bioremediation, because we don't really, it's not so very expensive also, and it is easier to do. So here it is like, what is bioremediation? It is just the breakdown of all the waste by microorganisms. So this can be the sludge in a pond, a specific hydrocarbon pollutant, or any organic waste stream, such as processing plant waste, in case you are doing a processing later. So any of the waste from a processing plant or from your aquaculture system can be broken down by microorganisms. Next. So it is, what are the benefits of bioremediation is that it is environmentally friendly, it is healthy, it is efficient, and it is cost effective method. Besides that, it is easy to implement, it can be performed on site or off site, and it reduces the amount of waste or the sludge which remains, which will go to the landfill site. So what we mean by the in situ, the next slide. So what you mean by in situ is that the microorganisms are put into the system itself, okay, like a biofloc system. So especially in intensive aquaculture, the waste loading is whereby waste loading is frequent and enormous. The naturally occurring bacteria are not sufficient to break down this waste. So what here we do is we add the microorganisms, especially which are like you have lactobacillus species. So that kind of species can be used, or any other microorganic species can be used. And normally what happens is that these microorganisms from the surrounding only can be used, okay, which are available into your sediment. That kind of species you need to use. And especially what happens is that why we really want to use it, because in the water the microorganisms are less, okay, the ones which are really required for degrading your waste. So it is usually found in the sediment. Next slide. So therefore a proper aquaculture waste treatment should be necessary to accelerate the biodegradation process by either stimulating the microbe growth or by augmenting the concentration of microbes. The former can be carried out by changing the environmental conditions to those most suitable for the growth of the degraders. The latter involves the addition of bacterial cultures to enhance the breakdown process. Both of them are the main strategies in bioremediation techniques. Also, it is advisable to combine different bioremediation methods for optimal aquaculture waste treatment. Next. Then there is also something called as biosimulation. Now, it is the bioremediation strategy. Now, the presence of nutrient fertilizers such as nitrogen and phosphorus as well as oxygen boosts the capability of the microorganisms for breaking down the organic pollutant. So, these systems are these nutrients are very necessary for them, and these are available in your wastewater. So, the nutrients when artificially added to the pond favors the microorganisms which multiply in million numbers, and in return the organic waste and toxic substances are rapidly broken down by them into a less harmful state. Aerobic bacteria responsible for oxidizing processes can only function when there is an environment with sufficient oxygen. Therefore, you require to aerate it. Okay? So, there are different ways of this. The first one we'll be talking about is your biofilters. So this biofilters allows the diffusion of oxygen, because finally what we are doing is enhancing the oxygen. When you have more of the diffusion, it forms adhesive sites for rapidly collecting natural aerobic bacteria involved in the nitrification and denitrification process. So biofilters are generally classified into submerged and immersed kind of biofilters. And the immersed biofilters, the water cascades over the media to maximize the transfer of the oxygen, and hence providing optimal condition for an efficient nitrification. Next, then we also have activated sludge. Okay, in activated sludge, what we do is the most common type of biological filter for wastewater treatment is the activated sludge. We use this activated sludge even for remediating the wastewater, means sewage waste. Okay, when we talk about STPs, most of you all must be knowing something called STPs, right? The sewage treatment plants. Okay, so in sewage treatment plant also the concept is the same thing. Okay, so here the activity starch is a form of an aerated suspension which promotes microbial growth, absorption and agglomerization of the suspended colloidal matter into microbial flocks, which breaks down further down the organic matter. Next. Yeah, so the efficiency of the activated sludge depends on the sludge retention time, which ensures more aeration and allows the extracellular polymeric substances to settle. Next. So this is another way. This is the microbial mats. So these microbial mats, they can be added into the system. The growth can be stimulated by adding either grass silage, glass pool, paddy straws. Okay, for the growth. And when you add, the natural substrate, that is like the paddy straw, the growth of these microbes are better. Okay, next. So all of them increase the surface area for rapid growth of naturally occurring nitrifying bacteria and the photosynthetic cyanobacteria that continuously supplies oxygen for the oxidation process. Basically, we are talking only about how to add more microorganisms into the system to degrade the waste. Okay. So microalgae also, the biofilms. The biofilms also are very good, and this can be grown even on bagasse. Okay. Sugarcane.
Yeah.
Okay. The sugarcane, after it is crushed, you get that we call it the bagasse only. So that can also be just put into the system. So you get a film of algae growth. So this is also a very good system. It also adds for the nutrition to the fish, okay, or to even the shrimps. So this is also a good system. The next. Now trickling filter. Now trickling filter is also basically it is all for increasing the oxygen. Next. Now constructed wetlands. Now this is a system which is also really very good and very easy for you to manage, and it is also good for wasteways. Okay, because what here you are doing is you are adding plants, okay, into the system. So wherever your water is going naturally, you can introduce the plants because you have gravel there. Okay, so the water goes through this gravel as well as into your plant, and then the plant will absorb all your waste. Okay, and it in turn clears your water and gives you back better quality water. So it absorbs all the nutrients like your higher quantity of your nitrogen, your phosphorus, metal, whichever is not required by the fish, it will absorb and it will give you the better water. It will reduce your COD, it will reduce your BOD. Okay, so the water which goes down to your farmer at the lower level, they will get a better quality of water. So in your raceway system, in one part, at the lower part, you must allow this water to go through your constructed wetlands. Okay, the next. So this is how wetland looks like. This is usually done in a pond, wherein the pond, the water, the nutrients, the excess nutrients and all are absorbed by the plants. Okay, directly. And what I showed you earlier was you could do that in a raceway system down the line. Next. So the most common constructed wetlands for aquaculture waste treatment are the subsurface flow and surface flow wetlands. In the former, gravel and sand are added to the base of the wetland to act as substrate for microbial attachment and growth. The second is the latter requires plant vegetation which helps in nutrient uptake, provides oxygen and creates a substrate for microbial attachment, a process referred to as phytoremediation. Next. So these are some of the pictures I downloaded from the net actually. So this on the right hand side you can see some constructed wetlands. So this can be used in your raceway system as well. Next. So my concluding remark would be like, with the current development of aquaculture industry, more and more waste will be produced, and in return, environmental impacts will be huge. You must understand one thing is that, see, we started with shrimp farming. Okay, I think in 1990s, shrimp farming was supposed to be the thing. Okay, because if you add 1 rupee, your returns were more than 2 rupees. Okay, so and the time of production was just 4 months, 3 to 4 months. So you had everyone wanting to do shrimp farming. We had corporates also into shrimp farming. And in, on the east coast, we had farms of more than 100 hectares. Okay, big, huge farms. And you had the big corporate, name it, Tapar, maybe Hindustan Lever, you had Nagarjuna, all having big farms. But what was the problem there was, because there was so much of everyone doing it, there was waste water. So it created disease. We had the white spot disease. And then there was this matter in the court. Okay, some NGO went to the court saying that it is causing environmental pollution. Okay, so then came the, after it got deliberated in the Supreme Court, they said that aquaculture, earlier they said it should be banned. Then they said no, aquaculture can go on, but because it is giving so much of employment, right, and plus nutritious food for people. So they said it can be done, but in a way that protects the environment as well. So every farm which is above 5 hectares was supposed to have a management plan. Okay, so you have to have an ETP, a plan for it. But if your farm was above 20 hectares, you needed to have an EIA done. Okay, so an EIA and a proper environmental impact done, proper treatment of your waste before leaving it into the river. And also they mandated that every farm, the next farm should have a distance of 50 meters at least. Okay, so before it happens, therefore, we must also think about our wastewater. So that is what would be my concluding remarks, would be that when you are designing your farm, see that some portion, at least say 5% of your farm area is dedicated for your treatment of your wastewater. And being fresh water, you can introduce vegetables as well. Always go in for integrated farming model. Don't go only for aquaculture, because you already have a setup. Okay? So the waste from one unit can be used as a raw product for your other unit. Okay? So in that way, you will increase your production as well as your income. Okay? So when you are having an integrated system, we are talking about doubling farmers' income. Okay? So in this way, you can do your farming and you can do it very successfully. Because when you are doing farming, you should not think of only first year's production. We must think about it being sustainable. Okay? So definitely, when you consider it as a whole system, it will be economically viable and it will be sustainable. Okay? And you will get maximum profits. So with that, I thank you.
Go into the field of entrepreneurship. It will surely help all the farmers to run a successful farm, because you mentioned about the sustainability rather than production. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us.